Hi, I'm Sharon Hamby-Roby, and this is Safe Space with Sharon. I wanted to talk to you about something that happened just a little while back. My great niece texted me. She has been seeing a guy who I didn't know a whole lot about, but I knew she was hanging out with him because that's what young people do these days. They don't date until they're actually ready to, and then they make a commitment to that. I actually think that's a good idea. So Rob had popped the question, will you be my girlfriend? Will you date me? And so the text I got was, oh my gosh, what do I say? Rob asked me to start dating him. I don't know what to do. First of all, I was so grateful that my great niece contacted us, my husband and I, because at this stage of her life, we're really the only parents she has, and we respect each other a lot, and I want the best for her. And so I said, well, my first question is, are you ready for this new big step? And she said, I think I am, but I feel like a little girl. I feel like I'm 5 years old. I don't know what to do. So obviously she likes Rob. So I said to her, well, we have some questions for you before you start dating. Because I think we need to have a better understanding of a person before we start dating them. So first my husband, Dave, got on the text and he asked some basic questions like, what is your faith? Do you have a political affiliation? Do you like cats or dogs? Are you addicted to anything? And all the answers were the right answers. So then by this time, we were doing a little video back and forth. And she said, okay, Aunt Sharon, we're ready for your questions. And so I did get out my list because I've had a list for myself, and I'll tell you about that later. But I said, okay, have you discussed whether you want children? And if you do get married and have children, is Rob willing to let you be a stay-at-home mom and he take care of you financially? The answer was yes. And that was good because I think she really wants children. And then I started asking other questions. Have you talked about finances? Have you talked about how you want to raise the children? What kind of parenting styles do you each have or expect to have? And things like, once you get married, are you still going to have freedoms? Because I've known too many women who have gone into a relationship and found themselves later with a very controlling partner who won't even let them go on vacation with the girlfriends or do much of anything without him being along. And I don't want anyone to fall into that trap. So we talked about a lot of things like debt, religion, parenting styles, how to deal with family, because in-laws can be a challenge in a relationship. There are such things as mama's boys. That's never good, because then you're always competing with mama, and that's never a good situation. Sexual expectations, your bucket list. What is your dream home? Careers, political minds, just a lot of good basic questions. You see, I was married before. I got married when I was 23. That was 1974. We were college sweethearts. And when we graduated, my ex got a job out of state. And so we had to make a decision. Do we just break up? Or do we take the next step and get married? And it took us a while to figure that out. He moved out of state and began his new job, and then realized he really wanted me in his life. And we were young and having fun, so we got married and began this new life together. And it was great while we were still in the fun stage of our life. But as we progressed in age, other topics began to come up. And I had been so young and naive that honestly, I didn't know what questions to ask. So when things like having children began to come up in our lives, we weren't at the same place. He was more interested in his career and wanting me to have one than raising children. Well, as it turned out, I had uterine and cervical cancer when I was 28, so I couldn't have children. And for a while, I think that just helped us to ignore the question. But eventually, I really wanted children. And so I thought we should adopt. He didn't. He was off having his own perfect career. And we had done well together. We had been financially well off. We had started several businesses. We traveled a lot. But as time progressed, after 18 years, things just kind of fell apart. And I realized at the end of the marriage that because I hadn't asked a lot of questions in advance and instead found myself in a position where I just went along with whatever he wanted to do, there was nothing left of me at the end of that relationship. I had compromised and sacrificed for the things that he wanted. He was a smart guy, and I know he pretty much knew what he was doing, but I didn't have enough self-worth by the end of it. He had made me feel like I wasn't capable, that he was and I wasn't. And I'm pretty smart and I'm capable of a lot of things. So after that divorce, and I started to date again, I got my list out because I didn't want to make the same mistakes again. Dave and I have now been happily married for 30 years. And I think that fortunately I learned so much going through that first experience that I really want to help other people avoid that. Because I think for us, we were in love. You know, we were 20 some years old. And what did we care about what happens when we're 40? We didn't. And so we were going on the idea that we were in love. And what you have to realize, the idea of falling in love can also allow you to fall out of love because it's purely an emotion. And that's not what real love is. Real love is first and foremost a decision and a commitment. See, real love is saying, okay, I'm going to be here for you, basically, no matter what, as long as you don't treat me badly. But it means being there even if they lose their job, being there even if one of us gets sick, being there when one of us might be acting stupid. That can happen, you know. It's understanding that you have to ignore a lot of the little minor things in life. And trust me, you want to do that. I certainly can ignore a lot of the things that Dave does, and he certainly ignores some of the things I do, because it's not worth the argument over the petty things. It's the big things that matter. Are we on the same page? Yes, we're of the same faith. That was a big mistake I made the first time. Whew. So understanding that having the same faith is best, but if you choose to be with someone who doesn't have the same faith as you need to really talk about what faith you're going to instill in your children. Because it's important, I believe, that they have something beyond themselves and you to believe in. I know as a child, prayer was so important to me. When things were really hard at home or at school or just in life in general, I knew that I had a Heavenly Father that I could turn to, who would hear me and care about me no matter what, even if I was angry with my parents or they were angry with me. And so I think it's important that we instill a strong faith in our children to give them more confidence, more love, more importance, to know that they're important no matter what. Love is a choice. It's saying, I will be there for you all the days of your life, that I will support you, encourage you, care for you, build you up. Last week, about the middle of the week, my husband started with a really bad toothache. And you know how guys are when they're not feeling well. They really can be big babies. And there wasn't anything I could do about the toothache. He couldn't get an appointment with the dentist till Monday morning. So he was going to have to suffer his way through the weekend. So I did my best to just give him some extra attention. Remember to ask him throughout the day how he was feeling and that I care. And I'm so sorry this is happening to you. It's those little things that make a marriage better. Like, for example, Dave always cleans the kitchen up after dinner. I always do the laundry, but he'll often carry the laundry basket to the laundry room for me. One of us always makes sure to make the bed and turn the bed down at night. And it's those little things that, no matter what else is going on, shows love, shows that you care. We never leave for the day without telling each other we love each other and giving each other a kiss. Those little things express love, caring. It's the choice we make rather than criticizing everything. I'm the eldest of 6 kids, so I can be pretty bossy. Yeah. Because I was always in charge. And so that serves me well in a lot of areas of my life. But it doesn't serve me well when I start to boss Dave around, especially when I try to tell him how to drive. So I have to constantly remind myself, or Dave has to remind me, that I'm doing it again. One of the other things is because I come from a big family, Polish and Hungarian family, a lot of us in the family have a big mouth. We're loud. We don't say we're loud. We just say, I'm not loud, I'm Polish. But my younger brother, who's 3 years younger than me, he doesn't agree with that statement. Still, at this age, he says to me, Sharon, inside voice. That's really hard for me, but especially when I'm around him and also my husband, I try to remember to find an inside voice. So it's all those little things that can be really annoying that we have to learn to ignore Because again, love is a decision. It's choosing to be there even when things are tough. It's saying you'll never go unnoticed. I'll always notice you. I want Dave to know that he's my guy. And I hope I'm always his girl. Even 30 years into marriage, we have that. But, you know, it's thinking about our personalities and really having a good understanding of who we are before we fall into a way of acting that's just kind of remote. So much of who we are, we learned as children. And so it is the childhood traumas we may have experienced, that any unstable, unhealthy part of our childhood that we've carried into our adulthood, we need to get corrected, whether we do it on our own or whether we get help. I think it's really important to be healthy people. Also, you know, what are our sexual expectations? What are our financial expectations? Is there mental health problems in your life? All those things need to be talked about. You know, what kind of careers do we like? Do we want to stay in one place and live near family? Or do we want to travel? I have friends that have gone into the missionary field with their children. I have other friends that have stayed close to family for the sake of children. Actually, most of my siblings, 4 of them, stayed put within 10 minutes of each other in Ohio. And they've really had a great family environment. They all have children and grandchildren now, and they still do life together. And that's so important, that you have extended family, whether it's real family or adopted family. I recently was adopted by a family, and I now have 2 great-grandsons. I never had children, but I now have 2 great-grandsons. So it's creating experiences for ourselves and creating a support group around us that help us stay healthy in our partner relationships. We all need that. Not just the support, but the feedback. You know, how am I doing? How are you doing this? Someone I can say, you know what happened this morning with Dave and I'm not sure how to respond. It's having someone you can talk to. And all these things are important when choosing a partner, because love isn't enough. So it's really important before you start dating someone, because I believe there's no point in dating someone unless they have the potential to be a partner ongoing. Why waste? And so many people do. I know it's so easy to find ourselves in a dating relationship that goes on for a year, 2 years, 3 years, when suddenly the choices are different and we realize we've put ourselves into a situation that wasn't the best choice. So think about those things. Start creating your list of questions. Examine yourself. Be honest with yourself. What are my flaws and how will that affect a relationship with someone else? So just take this stuff seriously. I hope you have someone like my great niece does in your life that you trust, whether it's a parent, a sister, a friend, an aunt, an uncle, anyone that you can go to and have this conversation with. Make good choices. Please sign up and follow me on Sharon, Safe Space with Sharon. And please tell me, what are some of the topics you want to talk about? I mean, I'm 74. I've been through a lot of things in life. I might have, a few suggestions. Have a great day.